Now we're live and direct
All
with
right.
Joel. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, just
And
north of Atlanta, Ackworth, Georgia.
that's right. Food Babe, she works out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That should be somebody on your list. Food Babe, Vani Hari. I think she has 1 million followers on Facebook. Talk about person in the movement.
Yeah.
She's a mover and she's a shaker.
Hopefully she'll agree to an interview.
And she wrote a book, The Food Babe Way. See if you can get a free copy from her.
Okay.
Because you're a member of the press. She sent me a copy.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then my mom stole it. Yeah, that's a true story. She's 83 years old. She stole my book.
Well, at that age, she really just borrowed it long term.
Well, no, she takes a magic marker and she goes through every single line and she makes it her own. So then she bought a book for me after we'd done the interview with Vani. You can see the interview that I did with Vani about her book. And I haven't opened it. I've just moved on to other things. Anyway, Vani Hari, Atlanta, Georgia. Maybe you can go talk to her at the farmer's market or something.
Okay.
Or she does this stuff, hang out. And it's her and her husband. They've been working on it. It's before you interview, you got to take a look at the pictures of her when she was a teenager. She looks like nothing like she looks like today.
Oh, wow.
She looks homely. Let's put it that way. Homely. She's pudgy. Nothing like today. You just go, I don't believe it. It's like the caterpillar became a butterfly. Anyway, where am I from?
Yes.
How far back do you want me to go?
Well, where you're from originally, and you call Port Townsend home. Love to know why.
I call Port Townsend home. Yeah, I've been in Port Townsend for probably 15, 16 years. Longer than I think I've been here, but that's the reality. I come from Santa Rosa, California. That's where I went to high school and college, the JC, and then I got a degree at Sonoma State University, which is about 9 miles north of Santa Rosa, California. Santa Rosa, California is the wine country.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So in high school, I had a motorcycle. So I rode the small roads that went into the green hills. It was nice. Oak trees, nice climate. What are they, 15 miles from the coast? Here in Port Townsend, I'm on a peninsula. You can check it out on. Here, I'm going to share my screen with you. Check it out on Google's map. Port Townsend. There, you see that on your screen? So here we are, Port Townsend. And as you can see, we are on a peninsula. So Seattle is way over here. So for us to get to Seattle, it's about a 3-hour trek. And you got to go over a bridge right here. And then you got to take a ferry, Bainbridge Island, to go over to Seattle. And if we want to go north, we get on a ferry. Port Townsend has their own ferry. And we go over here to Coupeville. And then we drive over this way. And we're close to Canada. There's Canada right here. So that gives you a perspective of where I am in the United States.
How many times have you been to Canada?
I've been to Canada once since we've been here, and I went to Canada for the Olympics, the Vancouver Olympics. And I went there with a 10-year-old boy and his mother, and we did video reporting for magazine Times for Kids magazine. We were there for like a week and a half, and you can see all those videos on my YouTube channel, Digital Reporter.
Oh, cool.
So just once, and I was there for like a week and a half. It was the best of times and the worst of times.
When I was in Canada, I was floored at how clean the place was. Litter seemed to be not really in their way of life.
Yeah, I wouldn't know because I was in Vancouver during the Winter Olympics, and everything was clean as a whistle. It was like Disneyland. It's all happening. So anyway, this is where, and I live. We have a polluter right here. This is our main polluter, the Port Townsend Paper Corporation. They pollute the water and the air in this area. And I live over here by Fort Townsend. I live in this area here.
Okay.
So I'm very close to the water. In fact, we take our dogs down to the beach over here and right here. So that's where I live. That's where I'm from.
That's a beautiful area.
It's a tourist destination. It's a Victorian seaport, and so downtown Port Townsend right here, and we could probably do show imagery. Yeah, like right here.
Oh, wow.
This is what draws people to Port Townsend. It's a Victorian seaport, so this is the ferry that takes you over to Coupeville. And this is the lighthouse. This is a view. In fact, we can do 360. This is the point of the lighthouse. So anyway, yeah, it's a tourist destination. Oh, here. This is kind of the architecture that is throughout the town. 1800s. Wow. What's this? Oh, this is more of the lighthouse. So anyway, I know that's a long-winded answer to where are you?
That was great, though. Thank you.
And that's what's so cool about Google Hangouts. Back to map.
What made you decide to become involved in the movement?
Sure, I didn't want to be involved with the movement. Where's my? Let me get my prop. Oh, I know where my prop is. Okay, I got my prop. Okay, I'm back. So how did I get involved with the movement? I am going to show you how I got involved with the movement. Whoops, that's not where I want to go. I was working with a company called Raw Juice. And I will put that on the screen here. This company right here.
Okay.
Where is it? Right here. Raw juice. It tastes raw. So I found this company at the Green Festival in San Francisco, California. And actually, I'm a multimedia journalist, so I did an interview with their CEO at the Green Festival, San Francisco. You can watch that interview on my channel, Digital Reporter, and I could show this to you if you want. And I started working for them. They sent me money, and I was doing consulting for them. And I basically put these QR codes, see the QR code, on their packaging. And the idea is when you have a smartphone and you scan the QR code, you get a new bit of information. You get a coupon, you can get a video, you can go to their website, you can get a song, you can download a song, all from the code that's printed on the bottle. They sent me to Florida to a YouTube convention and sent me a variety of places. And they came to Seattle. And so I was doing video reports in Seattle. You can see all the reports I did on my YouTube channel, Digital Reporter. And they had this little thing on their bottle, non-GMO project. It was a new thing for them. They were non-GMO project verified. And the group that put on this convention in Seattle, they were based in Port Townsend. So I wanted to interview the people that set up this convention. It was a natural food convention, actually. So I finally got to talk to the organizer. Actually, it was a board member. It wasn't the actual organizer. They didn't want to go on camera. They wanted me to talk to the chairman of the board. I forgot. And he owns a health food store in Eastern Washington. And you can see that video on YouTube channel. And all he wanted to talk about was GMOs and how their organization was going to donate $10,000 for the labeling initiative to get signatures to put labeling on the ballot for 2013. This was back in 2012. I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't care about GMOs. I could care less. I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole. It's just like, you know, tell me more about the convention. You know, how many people were here? All he wanted to talk about was the GMO initiative and getting signatures and $10,000. So I did the video and I just started doing research on information that he provided to me during the interview. And so I just kind of went down the rabbit hole in that regards. And then that was, I think, in September. And then in October, or no, that was in November, that was in October. And then in November, Raw Foods sent me to Los Angeles for the Green Festival in Los Angeles. So I went down there, and this was 2012, and this was in November, right after Proposition 37. And Proposition 37 was a GMO labeling initiative that lost in California. It was a second one, actually, that was put before the voters. The first one was in 2002 in Oregon, but this was 2012. And there was a meeting of the activists, the people at the Green Festival. They were going to have a breakfast. So I attended that breakfast and I videotaped the people that showed up as they were kind of going around saying who they were and what their experience was like in Proposition 37. And then afterwards, I did individual interviews with these individuals in a in a booth that had a screen behind him, and I had lights, and I had the camera, and I had everything set up. And that's kind of how it started. I kind of went from Seattle doing this one interview, going down the rabbit hole, going down to California, interviewing the individuals I interviewed. Zen Honeycutt, she showed up and she talked to me on camera about her idea. What do you think if we do parades on the 4th of July? You know, that was the very first time she publicly made that announcement. I talked to Pam Larry. She was the rabble rouser, the instigator for Proposition 37. Kathleen Hallau, who's now on the show. Rachel Linden, who's now on the show. So I got connected with the movers and the shakers in the movement on a national level and the California level. Back then, and then the idea that I had was to bring that information back to Washington so that the people in Washington could, you know, learn lessons from the California people so they wouldn't make the same mistakes. And then in 2013, I launched the GMO-free news. And our first guest was Senator Marilyn Chase, and she was one of the co-chair people for the Yes on 522 campaign, the GMO labeling initiative in Washington State. So that's basically how I got started. Long-winded answer, right?
Well, that's what we want, actually. That's the goal.
Any questions about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Is the senator still in office?
Senator is still in office. That's right. Senator Marilyn Chase. Unfortunately, at that time, I had a computer that didn't have a video camera on it. Mm-hmm. So the way we rolled is the different people would host the show on their channels. And the person that hosted that particular interview, she decided to delete all of her, all the videos that we did. Oh, okay. So you can't see it, but you can see a picture up on our blog, gmofreenews.blogspot.com. And you can see the transcript I did of the interview, and I think a picture.
Okay. So
and hopefully one day she'll turn it back on. She does what she wants to do. I can't force her. So if she decides she wants to turn it off, she turns it off. I mean, that's the problem. It's her property. I mean, it was her channel, so she can do anything she wants with it. Now, everything gets run through GMO-free news, and I control it. And you know, I'm not going to delete anything.
And that's part of the reason why you chose to start your own organization, so you could have more control, right?
No, I started it. You know, again, back in. It was, you can see the press release up on our website, which is about me, about, I think it's about.me/WWGF News. Originally it was called the Weekly Women's GMO-Free News. So it was just an idea that I threw out there, and I had 6 women that I was working with, and the idea that would be a round robin, that each week one of the women would host a show and bring on guests so that no one person would have to do all the work. Anyway, that was the original idea. And I just wanted to see if we could be a news outlet for the movement, basically. Through the point of view of women, because when I attended the Green Festival in Los Angeles, the only people that showed up after the fact, Proposition 37, I'd say 90% of them were women, and they were still boiling mad about the loss of of that initiative. So I felt it was a women's issue because it was deeply rooted in the next generation with food, because people were talking about the health issues in children and in their own bodies. The men, they basically were there, I think, primarily because of the political aspects, not necessarily the health aspects. So that's why I decided that a news program geared by women for women would find a larger audience.
And you dropped women from the name later just to try and give it more broad appeal?
Rachel Linden left us. She got all mad at me, or no, she just had too many things going on. But anyway, she got mad at me, and then she came back because Kathleen and I continued to work together. And then she came back. I always told Rachel, the door's always open. No matter what happens, always open. I don't care, because we tend to fight amongst ourselves as activists or people in the movement more than we do with the people that we're supposed to be fighting against. So I just, I know the cut of the cloth that Rachel is cut from, and she's a good being, in my book. So when she came back, she said, I want to do this, I want to do that, blah, 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 blah. One of the things she wanted is to drop the Weekly Women's from the title. It was too long to fit on a business card. And so I said, okay. And, Kathleen went, okay, fine, let's do it. If Rachel wants to do it, sure, let's do it. It makes more sense. Let's just trim it down. It's too long. And we weren't appealing to women. Where are the women? Women weren't, coming around. The idea to have a show by women for women wasn't a good hook. So that's why it was dropped. It did not appeal. Yeah, I think Rachel said it was coddling to women, and so she didn't want to coddle to women. That's why it was dropped. In my opinion, she might have another opinion.
It's good reasoning. I'll have to ask her. Hopefully, she'll have the time to sit down for a few minutes with me.
She's super busy. I mean, she's super busy. She's a whirlwind. Same with Kathleen. I don't know if she'll give you the time, but you can try.
I'll definitely try. So when did you first realize that success, as in banning GMOs or even just getting them labeled, would be really challenging? When did that first kind of strike you?
Well, I think when I went down to California at the Green Festival, and I was listening to all the stories that people had about the campaign down there, and I started, going down the rabbit hole, learning about the deception that industry used to win the election. They won it on lies. So I just started doing research on industry successes over the years. Starting back at the lead industry, and then of course the tobacco industry. And so when you have billions and billions of dollars at your disposal to dish out lies and deception, that's always won.
Yeah.
That won during putting lead in gasoline, and that won in asbestos, and that won in tobacco. And so it has always won. It's the age issue, truth to power. Truth always loses to the power.
Well, Gandhi and Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. managed to succeed, but it took a while.
Yeah, I guess. but you know, they had their own issues, and you have to gauge the success. I mean, they obviously got awareness in people's minds, and I think, you know, through awareness over time, it percolated up. But at the time, you know, they were hit pretty hard. And again, you know, Martin Luther King, he died, and so you know, he became you know, somebody to be held up on a pedestal.
Yes, they were both assassinated. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, they were assassinated. I mean, you know, if you asked them now, of course, they're in the grave. Is that, would you, if you were to live all over again, is this the path you would have taken? Maybe they would have said, no, I wanted to be happy all my life. I had a life of misery. I fought with the people, and I fought with the people that were supposed to be working. I was supposed to be working with. I mean, if you take a look at the civil rights movement, the ministers were the one that had a heavy hand over the civil rights movement. Black women, they were reduced to just making coffee and making copies, and so they splintered off from the movement, the civil rights movement, and did you know, the women's movement. And there was a lot of friction and amongst the groups in there. There's a great documentary that I saw on PBS that talked about the splinter groups within the civil rights movement, and how people weren't allowed to speak if they weren't on message with the ministers. It was you know, very heavy-handed, and a lot of discontent within people, which means, you know, if you're constantly fighting and struggling with the people you're supposed to be working with, you're probably not getting too much sleep. I mean, how can people sleep that? I mean, you're constantly under stress.
Yeah.
Super stress. You never know what's going to happen. And, you know, they're killing you. They're beating you. They're putting you in jail. They're lying. They're chumped up charges against you. I mean, what kind of a life is that? You're going to get yourself a heart attack early in life. You know. So anyway.
So what are the goals of GMO-free news?
The goals of GMO-free news? Be a voice. I think we have a mission statement on the Facebook page.
Well, excellent.
And it keeps changing. I put it up there, and then because I gave everybody access so they can change stuff on here. GMO-free news, shining a light. Rachel did this. GMO-free news, shining a light on genetically engineered products for busy people looking for healthy answers for our families and the planet. So you know, the goal is to, you know, in my mind, and what I had up there before she changed it was shining a light in the darkness. Truth to power. Yeah. Truth to power. You know, they got billions and billions of dollars to throw up a smoke screen to the truth. And in the end, I believe, well, in the end, we all want truth to win, right?
Yes.
We want a happy story. We want the good guys to win. We want to be a beacon in the sea, so others won't crash and burn, so they won't sink. We want to record the news. We want to report the news and record history. How's that? Yeah. All kind of accolades there for you.
Is GMO-free news a nonprofit?
No, we're just a very loose group of people, not a nonprofit. I don't understand. I think there's too much paperwork in being a nonprofit. I don't know what nonprofit status would get us. GMO-free news, if we can grow our audience, if we can get, people to watch us, we get sponsorship, and we get advertisers off of these companies. And they have in their budget to write checks for sponsorship. So we don't need, in my mind, nonprofit status. I mean, what does nonprofit status give you? Somebody's got to tell me, other than a lot of paperwork and people saying you can't be political because it's going to jeopardize your nonprofit status. I mean, we see that with Moms Across America right now. She's getting hit really hard from the trolls that want her financials, to show that she is a political organization and not a nonprofit organization.
Wow.
You gotta hire lawyers, you gotta hire accountants, you got a whole world of issues around you. So if we ever, grew to have a large enough audience out there where people are tuning in and sharing our material, then that might be a consideration. But NBC News is not a nonprofit organization. Hearst Corporation is not a nonprofit organization. I see GMO-free news as a news network, a news outlet. So I don't see a benefit for nonprofit status except for headaches. Who needs headaches?
Yeah. Life gives us enough of those already, right?
That's right. I got enough headaches. Don't need more.
Have you ever been involved as an activist in any other movements?
No.
This is the first cause that caught you, right? It's great.
Yep. At this level, and again, I don't see myself as an activist. I see myself more as a journalist, as a reporter, as a person who is, I line up interviews. We talk to people. We produce a news show. So, and we might have some activists in there, but I see us more as reporters. We're journalists. We're not, we can wear lots of different hats, and just because you're wearing one hat doesn't mean you're not something else. So if you take a look at my videos of March Against Monsanto, I'm not marching in the parade. I'm on the outskirts making a video of the people marching in the parade. I'm doing interviews of people that showed up at the parade. I'm not in the parade doing interviews with people talking about why I'm there. I'm telling their story.
You don't do this to make money, though. I mean, you're not making a fortune doing this, right? You don't do this
making zero money. But if we have the audience, if we have a product that people appreciate and share, then there's opportunity. There's the ability for money. So it's a gamble. Let's put it. I was making money with raw juice. They were paying my bills, but they decided to part ways. I was more focused on this issue, and I was pulling them into it. We donated 1,000 bottles. These things sell for $2.99. We donated 1,000 bottles to the GMO labeling campaign in Washington State. I showed up at their offices and loaded their refrigerator with juice. I was doing all, and so they didn't see a return on the investment, so they cut me loose. So I'm out looking for other opportunities to partner with companies as well.
Okay.
But right now, it's a money is a time. It's a time suck because it's not giving a return of my investment.
Okay. How many members are in the organization of GMO Free News?
3 right now.
You, Rachel, and Kathleen, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's a revolving door. I mean, we have some people show up, but basically, you know, it's very loose. I do all the heavy lifting, and they're the hosts, and they show up. We've had some volunteers show up that, you know, want to make money, that see a vision, that helped out. But then because the money isn't there next week, they disappear to the point where they, you know, consider me harassing them because I'm saying, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And what about this? What about that? You said you were going to do this. You didn't do that. They're gone. Money makes the world go round. They might come in with all these noble ideas. They're going to change the world. They have damaged kids. And then they get started and it's like, oh, I don't have time. I got to pay the bills. This is too heavy. I don't want to do this. So right now, the organization, which is very loose, it's Rachel, Kathleen, and myself. Small team.
Especially after this semester, you know,